Hi, my name is Jay Kaufman, and along with Sky Cook and Jessica Jensky, this is our group project for BA F390 regarding the Power Home Remodeling Group. As I said, that's our group right there. And a little bit about what Power is. This is right from their website. Talks a lot about their principles, their values, what kind of people they're looking for to work for them, and what they really feel are their core values as a company and as an organization, and really as a culture. As you'll see, Power truly does kind of have its own culture within the organization, within the company. So a little bit on the history of Power. It was founded in 1992 by Adam and Jeff Callagher just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a privately owned company that focuses on remodeling products. So primarily windows, siding, roofing, entry doors, sliding doors, things like that. And it has 2,500 employees across 14 states. Typically holds offices just outside of major urban areas. On their website, you can find the Customer Bill of Rights, which really dictates how Power feels about their customers and what they promise to their customers and how they will treat their customers. Kind of the core of Power is what they call Nitro. It's a software they have that basically runs the entire company. It's how they schedule appointments with potential customers. It's how they schedule meetings. It's how they order supplies for their customers after completing a sale. Also helps them learn about and share different leads on new customers, and also kind of serves as a de facto social network for employees regarding parties, events, meetings, hangouts, stuff like that between their employees, much like Facebook or Twitter might do as well. A little bit more on what Power does and how they try to value their employees. They really have a pretty strong women's initiative where if an employee refers a new female employee to Power, they actually get a $3,000 referral bonus for bringing that woman on board, because Power is really trying to get more women into the construction and remodeling industries because they're very underrepresented there. Then also Power has an annual Women's Summit where it brings women from across their company to one location once a year to discuss issues, problems, solutions regarding these women and their employment at Power and how Power can better serve them. Power also has a veterans initiative created by Michael Hansen, a Marine Corps veteran who was working for Power and realized that in looking at some data that vets really seem to be performing far above and beyond the average numbers of Power employees when it came to sales. So he put together a proposal, presented it to Power's leadership, and a separate division was created with a couple $1 million of its own budget, and they focus on both internal support for veterans inside their organization, but they also deal with a lot of external organizations and veteran support across all industries. In 2018, 14% of all new hires at Power were veterans. There is a hiring bonus associated with this, and then a big part of Power's internal veterans initiative is mentoring. So a new employee, a new hire who is a veteran, is going to be assigned to a current employee who's a veteran to kind of help them get their feet underneath them, get their feet wet, and push on and hopefully be successful with the company. A little bit on the leadership of Power, rather than just having one CEO or one figurehead of the organization. Power actually has two, Asher Raphael and Corey Schiller. They were both hired on the same day in 2003, and ever since then were pretty vocal, very ambitious, very outspoken on how to be successful, what they thought the company should do to be successful. And ever since becoming CEOs, there's been insane amount of growth in Power. So in about 1 year under their co-leadership, Power grew as much as it had in the previous 10 years. So really a big difference there with these two charismatic leaders, which is probably their primary leadership style. They're very good at communicating their vision and putting their vision into play, but also hold a lot of influence not only over their own employees, but also outside of their organization as to suppliers and other customers and other organizations that they interact with on a regular basis. They also exemplify transformational leadership. They're very good at inspiring their people to do the best that they can and to really align their values with the values of Power as an organization. They also enjoy when people look at look at old problems new ways, much like the way that the Veterans Initiative was started. Hey, bring us a solution, bring us a problem, and run with it. And they're also characterized by their positive leadership. As I focused before with the Veterans Initiative, a lot on mentoring, but that's not only just among veterans, that's among all new and old employees. There's always mentoring there, and they focus a lot on training their employees as well. One of the contingency theories of leadership that we realized in our research that was exemplified by these two gentlemen is also the path goal theory, where it talks about how leaders assist their followers in attaining goals, and they provide the necessary direction or support for that, but throughout that they will make sure that the goals and direction of the individuals align with the goals and direction of the organization or the company, and really helping your people to move up to the next step of the ladder. Some number like 90% of Power executives started as an entry-level employee at Power. So that really exemplifies kind of this path goal theory and how it's really lasted and proven itself over years at Power. So why does this all work? Because as you'll see here in a little bit, about 90% of Power's workforce is millennials, and they really value that life-work balance over benefit packages like 401ks and pensions, and having tenure at an organization. And across all generations, people want to be seen as a valued member of the team, and not just a number or another cog in the wheel. And then a little bit on self-concordance between Power and its employees, talking about how when employees want to pursue goals that fit what they value and how they feel, not just because they're told to pursue a goal. I think the way that it works at Power really speaks volumes about its leadership and how good they are influencing their employees and empowering their employees. A little bit on Power in the news. You can find them anywhere. A quick Google search will show you a million different things and news stories about Power, whether it's veterans, it's women's initiatives, best places to work, best CEOs. It's all over the place. Here's a little bit about their annual Mexico trip, which is probably one of their most publicized things they're best well known for.
We have been waiting and anticipating this for months, and I am so psyched to see everybody here. And watching you guys at the pool party today, it made it all worth it.
So as you can see, that video, it's real upbeat, shows all kinds of people having a great time, and that's good PR for them. But on the flip side of that coin, there's an old saying that there's no such thing as bad press. So this picture here from a Detroit news station talks about people reporting aggressive and pushy salespeople. This is from Power, and Power really took this as a chance to explain their company, explain their business practices, and really try to move forward from this operation or from this news story in a positive light. Talking about the communication styles that we see with Power, they focus on, and this is a direct quote from their CEOs, but before they make any decision, they say, does this decision really create a better or more positive place for our people? And you have to focus on the personality, not the skills, because another quote from them is, you can train anyone to do something. They focus far more on your personality and who you are rather than what skills you can bring to the table. As I said before, about 90% of millennials, of the workforce of Power is millennials. There's some strengths and weaknesses associated with that, but for a pretty large company, they try to keep somewhat of a family atmosphere. So inside here you see the concept drawing of one of their new offices. I believe this is their headquarters. Shows people having a great time and playing ping pong or meeting in these little cubby spaces because they really value face-to-face communication. So here's another video from their website.
Initial impressions of Dallas. The venues always get better and better. We get the meet and greet as soon as we come in. We got the bags, everything's branded, got the new logos and everything. It's just really nice to see all the people coming in and everyone's smiling, everyone's greeting one another.
So that video, you got some upbeat music, you have some awesome visuals. Looks like a great time. You're getting free stuff. You're hanging out with people. Like, you just want to be part of that group, right? Well, that's advertising 101, right?
My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk, squirrel.
So I put that video in there to talk about a little bit of automatic processing, right? very persuasive communication. Can sometimes be superficial, but it's very common in advertising, right? You need people to realize or want your product, and Power needs people to want to work for them or to want to buy their product. So when they put these videos out, it shows people having a great time. They're getting all kinds of free stuff. They're traveling. It's pretty effective. The book also talks a lot about richness of communication, or the amount of information that can be transmitted during one episode, right? So here's some examples. I'm not going to read them all, but medium and high channel richness, and Power does a really good job with these ones that we selected here out of the book. But they probably place the most emphasis on face-to-face conversations, and that's with the way that they design their offices, the way they encourage employees to interact with each other. Really focus a lot on face-to-face communications. Like anybody, they have a pretty high social media presence with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, they're on it. Also talks a little bit about effective communication, some of the barriers there. So you could have filtering and selective perception, both between sender and receiver. It's very easy to overload with information, right? So at some point, too much is too much. Rule of threes, it's very easy to remember things when they're chunked in groups of three. Anything more than that, sometimes it's difficult to recall. And then obviously emotions can play a part in that, right? Both on the part of the sender or the receiver. Emotions that may not even have anything to do with the workplace environment. Sometimes that can be characterized as that high energy sales pitch, right? Like you saw those videos, and maybe if a Power salesperson comes and knocks on your door, right? It might be kind of that high energy, very persuasive, but that works for Power. And all these things seem to work very well with their business style and their business model. So now Sky will talk about employee feedback and engagement.
Feedback and engagement. I'm going to start by talking. Power seems to thrive on encouraging. If you look them up online or YouTube like I did, you'll find an incredible number of videos and information about all of the great things that this company does, not only for its employees, but also for the clients. And one thing that they talked about a lot was McClellan's theory of needs. And the way that they talked about this was they focused their company on achievement, power, affiliation. I was able to find one video that had 3 separate definitions, or more so not definitions, but what it means, these words mean to the company itself. And so the first one was harmony, or the condition of harmony, which is experiencing highs and lows in unison. So everybody has their days where they're successful, everybody has their days where they're not. And the company really focuses on how to make those unsuccessful days make the successful days more successful than they normally would be. So achieving more than you originally think you were going to. And they do this by really having a mentorship program and really make everybody feel comfortable and safe. Those 2 things that they really highlighted in their video was comfort and safety. And that goes along with the affiliation portion, where you have to feel like one unit and that you're all working together. They also focus on goal setting and doing better than you did yesterday. It's important to realize that you may be really great, but you could be even better than that if you just continue to push yourself. Another thing that they focus on is self-efficacy, and it's the Pygmalion effect, where you just believing in something can make it true. So they really take a top-down approach, where all of the people that are higher up, that are making the higher salaries, are really encouraging the people below them to succeed and meet them where they are at. And so they eventually can build their own skills and get to a point where they can make more money. And it's all based on the sales. And while there is a range of salaries that these employees can make, really it's up to them and how far they're pushing themselves. Because especially if they're in the sales area, they can definitely achieve more just by putting themselves out there and doing more and setting higher goals. So another thing is they have incredible compensation. They have above average salaries for people who are just starting out. And a majority of their company are millennials. So in the videos, you'll find that it's really colorful and bright and fun and exciting. And in one of the videos that you see in their conferences, they invited Macklemore, and then they have another conference video that they have Wayne Gretzky. And so they just do a lot of different things and invite a lot of different people who are incredibly successful, but also really engaging in talking about not only themselves being successful, but their success coming from being a team and the people who help them be successful, which is really what this program is all about, or this company is all about. If you go ahead and look at their website, you can find that it's all laid out what they do in terms of their benefits for their employees. And one of the things that it says on their website when looking at their benefits, it says, at Power, we believe that if our employees aren't over the moon happy, we're not doing our job. That's why our benefits are designed with one goal in mind: to empower our people to live their best lives. From access to a nationwide network of medical professionals via text and relocation opportunities to the top U.S. cities, to getting paid to hit the gym or improve the community, our perks are the rocket fuel that not only allows you to thrive at work, but also to be happy and healthy at home. So there are a variety of things, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was that there's medical professionals that they have at Tech, and one thing that they highlight in most of their videos is that they're very innovative. They really focus on communication and also the use of technology to facilitate that communication. And so you'll see a lot of things that you won't in normal companies because they're expensive and it takes money to do things like that, but that's something that they really focus on for their employees. So in terms of feedback, they do a lot of mentorship. So for their feedback, you wouldn't normally see what a typical office setting would give you. It's more of this community of people. Why are you down? What's happening in your life, your personal life, you need to be successful. At work, you need to be successful. They're one and the same. And so they are really focused on developing the person and not really looking for a person with a specific skill set. They have said in multiple videos that I've looked at that the skills aren't what they're focusing on. They're focusing on the person and who that person can become, and the skills will come with it because you can train anyone to do any skill. And so they do goal setting by giving incentives with things like a Mexico trip. So if you meet your benchmarks, if you're meeting your sales, then you are going to get rewarded for that. And that's just some of the many amazing things and amazing parts of this company. But thank you so much for listening.
So to bring it all together, talked a little bit about how Power has acknowledged and participates in different business practices that really value their employees, but also invest in all forms of well-being for their employees, both financial through their compensation plans and their benefit packages, social through things like their Mexico trip or use of the Nitro software for networking, but by empowering your employees and by allowing for some self-concordance between what employees' values are and the organization as a whole, both the company and the individual can grow. So hopefully using the different aspects of organizational behavior, we help define some of the successes of Power and how that works, and really how by implementing concepts of organizational behavior into their company, they've become a great success. I believe last year they had over $500 million in sales, which is just absolutely fantastic. So if you have any questions, here are some of the sources that we used, and thanks for your attention. Sorry our video is a little bit longer than normal.